The impossible rescue. The acrid smoke hung thick over the ravaged landscape of Proxima Colony, where the once pristine settlement now lay in ruins. Lieutenant Nora Reeves crouched behind a shattered wall, her medical scanner sweeping methodically for life signs amid the destruction. 3 days into the Hadraxian assault, and the colony's defenders had finally pushed back the alien forces, but at terrible cost. "Command, this is Reeves. Sector 7 almost cleared," she reported, wiping grime from her face. "Still no survivors detected." Her commanding officer's voice crackled through her comms. "Confirmed, Lieutenant. Finish your sweep and report back. Extraction in 30 minutes." Nora adjusted her medkit and continued through the rubble. 28 years old with a decade of frontline medical experience, she had seen more death than most people would in several lifetimes. Her dark hair was pulled back in a tight bun beneath her helmet, and determination burned in her hazel eyes. She had joined the Colonial Defense Force after losing her brother in the first Hadraxian attack on New Terra. The scanner beeped suddenly, registering a faint life signature ahead. Nora moved quickly, pushing aside fallen beams and shattered glass until she found the source, and froze. It wasn't a human colonist. Sprawled amid the debris lay a Hadraxian soldier, one of the invaders. The alien's crystalline exoskeleton was shattered across its torso, revealing the soft, vulnerable tissue beneath. Purple-tinged fluid, blood, pooled beneath its body. The four-armed humanoid was unconscious but alive, barely. Protocol was clear: secure human survivors, do not engage with enemy combatants unless necessary for defensive action. Hadraxian wounded were not her responsibility. Nora turned to leave, then hesitated. The medical scanner showed catastrophic internal damage. The alien would be dead within minutes without intervention. "I'm a medic first," she muttered, kneeling beside the injured Hadraxian. Enemy or not. Up close, she could see the alien was young, the equivalent of a human in their early 20s perhaps. Its facial markings weren't yet fully developed, indicating youth in their species. The Hadraxian made a soft clicking sound, regaining consciousness briefly. All four eyes focused on Nora with unmistakable fear. "I'm not going to hurt you," she said softly, knowing her translation module would convert her words. "I'm a medic." The alien attempted to speak, crystal shards falling from its mandibles. "Kill me quickly," the translator rendered. "That's not what I do," Nora replied, already pulling emergency supplies from her pack. "What's your name?" "Thexel," came the weak response before the alien slipped back into unconsciousness. Nora worked quickly, applying regenerative gel to the worst wounds and injecting stabilizers. The Hadraxian physiology was different from human, but she had studied alien anatomy extensively. The injuries were beyond what field medicine could repair. Thexel needed a surgical bay and advanced treatment. Her comms unit beeped. "Lieutenant Reeves, extraction in 15. Status?" Nora made a split-second decision that could end her career, or worse. "Command, I've found a survivor. Critical condition. Requesting medical evacuation." "Confirmed. Location?" "Sending coordinates now," she replied, deliberately omitting that the survivor wasn't human. When the medical transport arrived, Nora had Thexel wrapped in thermal blankets that obscured his alien features. Commander Jackson, the transport pilot, helped her load the stretcher. "Colonist?" he asked, glancing at the bundled form. "Critical case," Nora replied evasively. "Need to get them to surgical immediately." Once aboard, she sealed the medical compartment door, giving herself privacy to continue treating Thexel. The alien's vital signs were deteriorating rapidly. The crystalline structure that formed their exoskeleton was breaking down, causing cascading organ failure. Nora accessed the ship's medical database. There was an experimental procedure, one that integrated nano-reinforced synthetic crystal with biological tissue. It had been developed to study Hadraxian physiology, not to save them. This is going to work, she told the unconscious alien, preparing the nanite solution. It has to. As the transport headed back to Forward Base Omega, Nora performed the most challenging surgery of her career in the cramped confines of the medical bay. The procedure integrated synthetic crystal with Thexel's damaged tissues, creating a hybrid structure that would support his failing systems. Hours later, as they approached the base, Thexel stabilized. The synthetic crystal had melded with his natural exoskeleton, glowing with a faint blue luminescence where it interfaced with his body. "What have you done?" The alien's voice was stronger, though still weak. "Saved your life," Nora replied, checking his vitals. "Though I'm probably going to be court-martialed for it." "Why would you help an enemy?" "Because I'm a medic before I'm a soldier." The transport docked with a heavy clunk. Nora heard Commander Jackson requesting a medical team for their survivor. She had minutes before they discovered what she'd done. "Listen carefully, Thexel," she said urgently. "The procedure I performed, it integrated technology with your biological systems. Your people consider this taboo, don't they?" Thexel's 4 eyes widened. "The unsacred melding, it is forbidden. I would be exiled. And I'll likely be arrested for treating you," Nora added grimly. "But I don't regret it." The medical bay door slid open. Commander Jackson stood there, his expression shifting from concern to shock as he saw Thexel clearly for the first time. "Lieutenant Reeves," he said coldly, "explain yourself immediately." Before Nora could respond, Thexel spoke. "This human saved me when she could have let me die. Among my people, such a debt cannot be ignored." "This alien is an enemy combatant," Jackson snapped. "And you've violated at least 8 regulations by bringing it aboard." Nora corrected firmly. "And I didn't violate my oath as a medic." The next hours passed in a blur of interrogations. Nora was placed under house arrest pending a military tribunal. Thexel was transferred to a secure medical facility for further study, a euphemism she found deeply troubling. 3 days later, Dr. Wesley Harmon entered her quarters without knocking. The chief scientific officer at Forward Base Omega was in his 60s, with silver hair and piercing blue eyes that missed nothing. "Your alien patient is remarkable," he said without preamble. "The integration of our synthetic crystal with his biological systems is unprecedented." "He's not a lab specimen," Nora replied tersely. "How is he?" "Recovering, and quite talkative. He's been asking for you." Harmon studied her carefully. "The military wants to court-martial you, but intelligence sees an opportunity." "What kind of opportunity?" "Thexel claims he's a researcher, not a warrior. He was conscripted. And he believes your treatment has implications for his people." Nora leaned forward. "What implications?" "A genetic disorder affects many Hadraxians. Their natural crystal structures degrade prematurely. Your battlefield medicine might be their cure." Harmon handed her a datapad. "The brass wants you to continue working with him, under supervision." "They're using my court-martial as leverage," Nora realized. "Politics," Harmon agreed with distaste. "But this could save lives on both sides." "Will you do it?" Nora thought of Thexel's fear when he first saw her, and how quickly it had changed to trust. "When do we start?" The next morning, Nora entered the secure medical wing where Thexel was being held. The Hadraxian sat upright on a reinforced bed, the synthetic crystal integration sites glowing softly through his exoskeleton. "Lieutenant Reeves," he greeted her, his voice translator now properly calibrated. "I believed you might have been executed for assisting me." "Almost," she replied with a small smile. "How are you feeling?" Thexel flexed his 4 arms, examining the crystalline structures. "Strange. Different. But alive because of you." He lowered his voice. "My people would call me corrupted now. The melding is our greatest taboo, to join living crystal with artificial material." "I'm sorry," Nora said sincerely. I didn't know it would make you an outcast. Perhaps it is time for old beliefs to change, Thexel replied thoughtfully. Our crystals have been failing for generations. Our scientists seek solutions, but are constrained by tradition. He fixed all four eyes on her. What you have done here, it could save many of my kind. For the first time since finding him in the rubble, Nora felt a spark of hope. Sometimes the greatest bridges were built in the most unlikely circumstances. Then let's make sure it wasn't for nothing, she said, extending her hand in the human gesture of partnership. After a moment's hesitation, Thexel reached out with his upper right arm and took her hand. The impossible rescue was just the beginning. Bridges between worlds. The observation deck of Forward Base Omega offered a panoramic view of Proxima Colony's twin moons rising over the barren landscape. Nora stood silently, watching their pale light transform the battlefield where she had found Thexel 3 weeks earlier. Behind her, the soft click hiss of Hadraxian breathing announced his arrival. The tribunal has reached a decision, she said without turning. I'm being reassigned to the research division permanently. Officially, I've been demoted for protocol violations, but unofficially. She trailed off with a shrug. Your superiors are practical, Thexel observed, moving to stand beside her. The synthetic crystal integrated into his exoskeleton caught the moonlight, giving him an ethereal glow. My people would have executed us both. Nora glanced at him. Have you received any response to your transmission? Thexel's mandibles clicked in what she had learned was their equivalent of a sigh. The Ancestral Council has declared me severed. I no longer exist in Hadraxian records. I'm sorry, she said softly. Do not be. The Council fears change, but others will listen. Thexel's 4 eyes blinked in sequence, a gesture of determination. Dr. Harmon has authorized our proposed research facility? Nora nodded, allowing herself a small smile. Operation Crystalline Bridge has been approved. We'll establish a research outpost in the demilitarized zone between human and Hadraxian territories. The project had evolved rapidly from their initial work. Thexel's knowledge of Hadraxian crystal biology combined with Nora's medical expertise had produced promising results. The synthetic integration that had saved his life might indeed provide a cure for the genetic disorder plaguing his species, a condition they called the fading, where their crystalline structures deteriorated prematurely. We leave tomorrow, she added. A small team, you, me, Dr. Harmon, and a security detail. Your military trusts me so quickly? Thexel sounded skeptical. Not entirely, Nora admitted. But the potential benefits outweigh the risks. And I vouched for you. A significant gesture, considering your career cost. Nora turned from the viewport to face him fully. Worth it. The facility, dubbed Outpost Confluence by Dr. Harmon's wry sense of humor, took shape over the following months. Located on a small moon in the neutral territory established after the last major battle, it housed advanced medical laboratories and a small treatment center. Security was minimal, one human squad led by Sergeant Talia Barrett, a veteran with a perpetual scowl but pragmatic outlook. I still think this is asking for trouble, Barrett commented as she watched Nora and Thexel calibrate a molecular synthesizer. No offense to your crystal friend here. None taken, Sergeant, Thexel replied calmly. Skepticism is healthy. Word of their work spread gradually. First came the desperate cases, Hadraxians in late stages of the fading, smuggled to Outpost Confluence by relatives willing to risk exile. The treatment wasn't perfect, but it worked, integrating synthetic crystal with their deteriorating exoskeletons. The first human patients arrived unexpectedly, colonists from a mining accident with crystalline shards embedded too deeply for conventional removal. Thexel's technique of harmonizing the crystal with human tissue saved 4 lives and caught the attention of military medical command. They want to expand the facility, Dr. Harmon announced one evening, displaying the official communication. Triple our capacity and staff. The Council will see this as further provocation, Thexel warned. They've already increased patrols near our position. Nora frowned. We're helping people from both sides. Which makes us traitors to both sides, Thexel reminded her. Change requires time. That night, the proximity alarms blared. Nora rushed to the command center where Sergeant Barrett was directing her team. Hadraxian scout ship, Barrett reported tersely. Approaching fast, weapons charged. Let me speak with them, Thexel insisted. The communication channel crackled with static before clearing to reveal a Hadraxian commander, his crystal armor elaborate and imposing. I am Commander Vexus of the Ancestral Guard, the alien announced. Surrender the aberration known as Thexel and the human medic for judgment. Thexel stepped forward. Commander, I respectfully. Silence, Severed One, Vexus cut him off. Your corruption spreads like a plague. The Council has declared all who bear the synthetic crystal to be untouched. Nora joined Thexel at the console. Commander, we're operating a medical facility. We've harmed no one. You have violated our most sacred principles, Vexus replied coldly. Surrender now, or we will destroy your outpost. The transmission ended. Barrett immediately began evacuation procedures. We have 20 minutes before they're in weapons range, she reported. The shuttle can take everyone. Not everyone, Thexel said quietly. I must remain. Nora stared at him. That's suicide. No. It is necessity. Thexel activated a secure data terminal. I've been in contact with others, scientists, younger council members who question the old ways. Commander Vexus doesn't come with the full authority of the council. You're saying this is a rogue action? Dr. Harmon asked. Not entirely, Thexel admitted. But there is division among my people. I must stand and speak truth. Nora made her decision instantly. Then I'm staying too. Despite protests from Barrett and Harmon, Nora remained with Thexel as the others evacuated. They stood together in the command center, watching the Hadraxian ship grow larger on the view screen. They will broadcast this judgment across all Hadraxian territories, Thexel explained. It is our chance to be heard. When the ship halted just outside weapons range, Nora activated their transmitter, broadcasting on all frequencies. This is Lieutenant Nora Reeves of the Colonial Defense Force. We are an unarmed medical facility. We seek dialogue. The response was immediate. Prepare to be boarded. 6 Hadraxian warriors materialized in the command center, crystalline weapons aimed at Nora and Thexel. Commander Vexus followed, his posture rigid with contempt. The abomination and its human corrupter, he declared for the benefit of the recording devices his warriors carried. See how they defile our sacred biology with synthetic materials. Commander, Thexel spoke firmly, I respectfully ask you to examine the medical data. The synthetic integration has saved hundreds suffering from the fading. Silence. Vexus advanced menacingly. Your words poison the pure. Then perhaps you should hear mine, came a new voice. Everyone turned to see an elderly Hadraxian enter, his crystal structure naturally iridescent with age, the mark of a council elder. Elder Zavix, Vexus stuttered, clearly shocked. This intervention was not authorized. No, it was not, the elder agreed, moving forward with dignified grace. The council did not authorize this attack because the council is divided. Some wish to cling to dying traditions. Others seek to save our dying people. Zavix approached Thexel, examining the synthetic crystal integrated into his exoskeleton. Show me your research, young one. For the next hour, Thexel and Nora presented their findings. The elder listened attentively, occasionally asking incisive questions that revealed his own scientific background. Finally, he turned to the recording devices. I have seen enough. The integration is not corruption, it is evolution. Our ancestors developed crystal biology to survive on our homeworld. Now we must adapt again or perish. Vexus protested, Elder, the sacred texts. The texts teach survival, Zavix interrupted. Not stagnation. He faced the cameras directly. I, Elder Zavix, declare the research of Thexel and the human healer to be sanctioned. Those suffering from the fading may seek treatment without fear of becoming severed. The pronouncement changed everything. Within weeks, Outpost Confluence was officially recognized by both human and Hadraxian authorities. What began as a forbidden experiment expanded into a symbol of cooperation. 6 months later, Nora stood again on the observation deck, now expanded to accommodate both human and Hadraxian physiology. Beside her, Thexel reviewed treatment protocols on a data pad. The 127th successful integration, he noted with satisfaction. And the Council has approved preliminary discussions for a permanent diplomatic presence here. From battlefield rescue to peace talks, Nora mused. Not bad for a demotion. Thexel's mandibles clicked in amusement. Humans have a remarkable capacity for turning disaster into opportunity. We're stubborn that way, she agreed. Beyond the viewport, transport ships from both species approached the growing facility. Where once there had been only battlefield ruins, now stood a bridge between worlds, built not from steel and stone, but from compassion, courage, and the simple refusal to let someone die, even an enemy. Do you regret it? Thexel asked suddenly. Your decision that day in the ruins? Nora watched as a Hadraxian family disembarked from one shuttle, their child's newly integrated crystal catching the sunlight. The young one would live a full life now, free from the fading. Not for a second, she replied. Some rules deserve to be broken. Thexel's 4 eyes blinked in sequence, his people's expression of deep agreement. Perhaps that is humanity's greatest gift to the stars. You see boundaries not as sacred limits, but as challenges to overcome. Together they watched the twin moons rise over their growing sanctuary, a testament to what could be built when compassion outweighed conflict, and when one person refused to walk away from someone in need, even an enemy.